Disclaimer for empaths, I'm making this video from a place of feeling healed and feeling okay now. So my experiences that I'm going to share are not to asking for being fixed. It's just what happened and how I transitioned into being now. And I just hope it's relatable. That's the only reason I'm sharing it, because I hope it's relatable. I've heard other people struggling with the same thing. So I literally used to think I was so ugly that people didn't want to be around me. I used to think that I was completely unwanted and that nobody wanted to be like near me because it was just impossible to be around me, because it was just, I was unbearable basically, right? So a psychological fact is that young children are really good at telling facial expressions of their caregivers. They are so good at it that they can immediately recognize when a caregiver feels a certain thing just by looking at their body language. And they're not really great at understanding speech fully, but they are really good at their facial expressions. That's just the way that we evolved. So a child internalizes what they see from their parent, and they start to believe that that is their truth. And what happened was, I literally thought that for me, I would always ask people, like, how did I look? Like, did I really look good? Was I really pretty? And I couldn't like post on social media because I felt like everybody was just judging me, and it was just a lot of lashing onto me. And I just thought that must have been because there was something terribly wrong with me. I even got a nose surgery when I was 22 because I just felt so insecure. And even around that time, I used to do affirmations, and I used to like journal and go to therapy, and I really like did all the things that you would do for that. But I was constantly questioning myself and comparing myself, and really more than anything just feeling envious. But then I started to see that there were people who weren't conventionally pretty, like what you would look in the magazines or like famous people, and they were very confident and they felt really good about themselves, but they were just a normal person that they didn't look like a supermodel. And I come to find out these people had really nice upbringing with, they felt like loved and cared for and seen at home, and they felt like they had a lot of support. So it wasn't like, that's when it clicked, like it wasn't about the actual physical appearance, it was about how a person felt inside about themselves. So for me, inside, I didn't feel like I actually belonged somewhere and that I actually was good enough. So this constant feeling of being put down was what created my, like, it reflected itself into, oh, you must be ugly. And sorry if this is triggering. I just wanted to share it because that's truly the train of thought that happens to people, and it's important to say it out loud. Like, I feel like it happens to so many young people, like they feel that way, and that's why it's so important to go and look back at how we felt when we were at home, like when we were children. Like, did we feel welcome? Did we feel like we had enough support and attention and love? Or even if we did have those things, did we feel genuinely connected and understood in times when we felt like things were dark? And do we have somebody who we could go to when things were difficult? So I just wanted to share a little bit of that information, because this can actually mean that nowadays, if you have like this incessant feeling of feeling that way, there are ways to heal that. And that is by a little bit through therapy, specifically trauma therapy. But a lot of the work, most of the work, like 90% of the work, has to come from within, has to come from a place of trying to take care of yourself and genuinely wanting to do better and wanting to be out there for others. Now for me, this mostly consolidated with psychedelic, kind of like psychedelic therapy, more like informal, but that's what helped get into those areas of the brain of realizing like, hey, I actually belong somewhere. So It was more of that feeling. And really, after that, it's like nothing else matters. When you feel like you are important in this world and you have a job and a place in this world, the way that you look won't matter anymore, because that's just such a minimal thing. We are people who like connect through socializing, and those superficial things on the outside are not the main thing that would change somebody's life. Like, somebody's life isn't changed because they saw somebody really pretty today. Somebody's life is changed because they interacted with somebody who made them feel seen and connected and understood. So that's kind of where I'm getting to, and I recommend some things for you, some things for free. Affirmations helped me on the surface, but they didn't really get to the root problem. So I did affirmations for years, and that didn't really support me into getting to the root problem. I was still comparing myself so much. I think the main thing is going in and like closing your eyes and asking yourself, like, what is going on? With this, there needs to be compassion. And compassion is a very weird thing that we have to learn to create for ourselves. It comes from a place of seeing yourself as okay and acceptable, even with your imperfections. And this could be helpful to do with meditation. 5-10 minutes a day could make a huge difference. And allowing yourself to think whatever you're thinking without stopping it. And this is where trauma therapy can help, because feeling your feelings is not safe if you're in a state of trauma. And you might meditate for 10 years and still have feelings of stuck, because trauma literally stays in the body, and no matter what you do, if you don't address those issues in the right way, it's not going to come out. So it would have to be a combination of somatic exercises. They have that. So on YouTube, they have that. And for trauma therapy, things that you can do at home, actually, there are really great tips in a book called Sacred Medicine by Lissa Rankin. She gives a bunch of different great advices and things to look into. And she mostly talks about like chronic pain and cancer and things like that. But I think it's really useful if like you haven't gotten to a terrible place where it's life or death. You can read that book and gain great insight on tools that you can use in your everyday life and release your pain from feeling a certain way. I also recommend the book The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate. So you can look these at libraries, see if you can find them in the library. I found the one for Sacred Medicine. It was free at a library, and I had 2 weeks to read it. It was very helpful. And there are just a lot of books about actually getting to the true healing that is not really just the surface and like looking confident. It's like, how do you really feel inside? That's what matters the most. I hope this makes sense. I am so excited to share this with you because I really, really hope it helps somebody. I really wish somebody had told me this before. And I have so much compassion for you. Thank you for watching this video. Take care.